Kinda hard with you not around. Know you in heaven smiling down, watching us while we pray for you. Every day we pray for you, till the day we meet again.
This is Jesus Elias Moroles, also known as just Moroles. He was a wonderful man who was misunderstood all of his life. Despite all of the hardships he faced, he tried to make the best of it.
He was very musical, very creative, talented.
He was down on his luck and jobless, and his friend had heard of a job in Wisconsin, so he and his buddy hitched a ride on a train. When they had to jump off the train, Jess jumped off and broke his back. My mom was working at the hospital my dad had to go to at the time, and that's how they met. Once my dad had healed completely, he had nowhere to go, so he stayed with my mom and they fell in love.
We could talk for hours and he would listen to what I had to say. And
he had a heart of gold.
And he would write me notes a lot, telling me how much I meant to him and how much it meant for him to have this life and this second chance at a good life.
He was believed to have Asperger's syndrome.
Well, I don't think he knew he had Asperger's. In fact, I know he didn't know he had Asperger's.
The definition of Asperger's syndrome is an autism spectrum disorder, and people with it therefore show significant difficulties in social interaction, along with restricted and repetitive patterns of behavior and interests.
He had difficult learning different things. He didn't know how to act socially. He was kind of an outsider. He would ask questions about things that you should know that people just take for granted. It was snowing one day and he asked me, what do I do with this stuff? He just had no idea what you do with snow. And I thought that was the oddest question. What do you do with snow?
He was basically considered to be an odd man, but that didn't hinder his intelligence. For an example, his family couldn't afford a radio, so one day he went to the junkyard and collected the parts and built his own radio. He had a difficult time making friends and had to switch schools a lot because he got so much racism. His teenage years only got worse, which began his drugs and alcohol abuse, so then he dropped out of high school. Ultimately, his addiction got the best of him, which led to his suicide.
He had pneumonia and he had been in the hospital, and he brought his medicine home with him. He took all of his medicine at once, and I went in the bedroom and checked on him, and he was already dead. I think all of us have become more aware of the little things that we take for granted. I think that if I hadn't had Jess in my world, I wouldn't have had Tyler and Julia, and it would be a very lonesome world without Tyler and Julia. All the things that I learned from Jess and all the things that I've learned from my children have made my world so much better and so much larger and so much more open.
Jess was a wonderful man who, despite of all of his hardships, tried to do the best for the ones he loved in life. A father's love is never forgotten.
Father, Father, where art thou? I can't even imagine how you left this world, leaving your own son and your little girl. Yeah, now your suicide resides inside me. Now you can't even confide or guide me. Yeah, you left our destiny's path, and now I'm living the aftermath.